Alright, this is my review for the graphic novel adaptation of Animorphs Book 4, The Message. We open with Cassie having visions like in the book. The Animorphs eventually head out to the beach. Chapman, Tom, and a bunch of other human controllers are also headed that way. Tobias mentions that he overheard the controllers talking about Visser 3 throwing a hork-bajir controller out of the airlock for breaking his concentration while he was having a vision. And given that this is a visual medium, I think it would have been better if we actually saw Visser 3 throw the hork-bajir into space, but that's just a nitpick. They run away, morph into trout, and escape into the ocean. The morphing process continues to be visually interesting. Side note, we see Cassie's father earlier, and he looks way older than I was expecting. Anyway, later on at the dolphin exhibit in the gardens, the trance the dolphin goes into when Cassie acquires it is shown by a spiral forming in its eyes. This is shown in the previous graphic novels, but I forgot to mention it. Later on, they make their way inside the dome ship, and it looks okay. Granted, I prefer the way it looks in one of the puzzles. The dome ship should have been more of a vibrant blue. But this design is mostly okay in its own right. The carbon nanotube aesthetic is a nice touch. Axe's design looks good enough. Between the three Andalites that we've seen thus far, he definitely looks the most majestic. Grind did a good job of visually conveying that he's a teenager. Also, my prediction came true. Axe's thought speak bubbles are blue just like Elfangor's. After Axe acknowledges Jake as his prince, Jake says coolsies. That was unnecessary and a bit cringeworthy. Something else noteworthy is that the book says Andalites have 7 fingers on each hand. Here, we see that with X. So it's nice to see that detail carry over to the graphic novel. When Axe morphs into a shark, it looks like a great white. Even though I could have sworn that Book 15, The Escape, mentioned that it was a tiger shark. So either Grind completely changed it, or the shark's design is lacking detail. I don't know. When they fight the Taxons, the not-so-book-accurate bright blue blood from the previous issues, in addition to the blood and gore from the sharks taking a chunk out of Marco's tail fin, is somewhat muted. Hell, it looks like Marco has black blood. I guess it's because they're underwater. Well, come to think of it, the entire ocean looks kind of dull and gray. I can only hope that future installments won't be censored like this one. Anyway, the design for Visser 3's Mardrut morph is pretty good. It's probably the best design I've seen for this creature. Or at least a close second to the artwork by Monster Man 08. There's a pretty funny moment when Marco is partially demorphed out of his dolphin morph and scares Rachel. It's not every day that a comic book makes me laugh. Axe's human morph looks decent. You can definitely see a bit of everyone he acquired in the morph. Not too bad. Between this design, his TV show appearance, and the cover for Book 8, The Alien, I'm not really sure which one I prefer. Something else I noticed is that this particular issue has a lot of silhouette shots. They're very well done. The use of a magnifying panel while they're outside the dome ship was a nice touch. That one bit of dialogue when Jake says coolsies didn't need to exist. On a more positive note, Chris Grind did a good job illustrating Cassie's visions. I like how when Cassie's having a vision, it looks like she's been transported underwater, kind of foreshadowing where Axe is located. And the same can be said for the moment when Cassie communicates with the whales that saved them from the Mardrut later. Though it was a bit disappointing that we didn't get to see Tobias's perspective. Overall, this adaptation was alright. And that's pretty much it. I'll see you in the next video.